Good afternoon, or depending where you are joining this celebration from right now, good night or good morning. I'm Steve Seidel, and as Faculty Director of the Arts and Education Program at HGSE, it is my honor to welcome you to this celebration of the remarkable work, passion, and commitment that has brought each of our graduates to the completion of their master's program. Indeed, we are truly spread out around the globe today, so we're reaching across space and time to be together at this moment. And yes, I believe that we are together. This may not be the graduation ceremony that we dreamt of. Indeed, it isn't. But I believe spirit can transcend distance and community crosses boundaries. It's also my honor to welcome the family, friends, loved ones, children, and partners of our graduates. Many of you are watching this ceremony across the US and around the globe, often, sadly, not in the same place with the graduates you're celebrating. I hope that you will all be able to have your own more intimate gatherings tonight and in the days to come with toasts, cheers, and congratulations. If I may, I'd like to start by speaking to the families, friends, and all those who helped our graduates on their journey to this moment. Many of you were there for them long before they ever had the idea to pursue graduate study at Harvard. Nobody gets to graduate school on their own, and nobody gets through a demanding graduate program without support. You have nurtured and encouraged them, believed in them when they had doubts, and critically, you have shared their belief in the value and importance of learning and education. You were there when they came to Cambridge last August, and you have supported them through their adventures from that moment until now. I never forget that there's a community behind each student. I may never meet that community, but they were there before I met my students, and they'll be there after my time with them is over. My work would mean little without your efforts, so I thank you. I feel we've been working together. You are wonderful colleagues. And to the graduates, I want to leave you a moment to hold in mind those who are with us only in spirit today, who have loved you and inspired you, and who you carried with you when you came to Harvard. I'd like to take a quiet moment for you to hold these special people in mind. Now, one more word to family and friends. If the graduate you're celebrating today can't always make it clear to you what this year has been like for them, the challenges they've faced, the communities they've created, the difficult choices they've had to make, the worries, the joys, and perhaps most of all, the evolving and emerging meaning of this experience, I want to ask you to please be patient. It's been a wild ride. A lot happened in a relatively short time, and frankly, they may still be trying to figure it all out themselves. Indeed, I hope this is the case. I don't want to think that their time at the School of Education is easy to contain and explain. I want it to take time. Weeks, months, years even. That's my hope. The test is time. What emerges as the important lessons from this year, the lessons that prove most lasting, transformative, and inspiring, will reveal themselves, but we probably can't know now what they will turn out to be or when they will reveal themselves. This seems especially likely this year in the context of the pandemic that has transformed all of our lives. We are all struggling to imagine what the meaning of this extraordinary time will be for each of us and for us collectively. I know I'm struggling with it. It will take time and work to make sense out of this experience, but I think this is actually work that, as artists and educators, we are well prepared to take on. Why? Because at the core of our work, we are grappling with the complexities and mysteries of human experience and the fundamental uncertainties of living. We do that by giving them shape and form, whether with materials and artistic processes, or with the design of a lesson, a workshop, or other learning experiences. Given the enormity and unprecedented nature of this pandemic, we need to be figuring out how to do this using all of the tools we have at hand and inventing the tools we'll need to have that we don't yet have. This, I believe, is our work moving forward. One of the biggest challenges in any time of uncertainty is whether in the face of it all, we can find our way to holding focus on the hard work of learning. When things get tough, can we recognize the limits of what we know and understand and push onward to try to understand more, to make more sense and more meaning of what we are experiencing? So here's a little observation from my side of the Zoom room on your final quarter at the Ed School. I learned that every one of you graduating today, despite dislocation, despite isolation, and despite fear, has stayed curious, found meaning and inspiration, and kept learning. And with such grace and beauty, you were there for each other through it all. If a purpose of education is to prepare students to be lifelong learners who continue learning through whatever they encounter, you have all proven yourselves worthy to the challenge. You've done this with deep curiosity, thoughtfulness, emotional honesty, tenderness, caring, generosity, and resilience. You have met the challenges of this year and most impressively these last 2 months. Along the way, you have inspired each other and you've inspired me, and for that I'm most grateful. So it has been my honor to welcome everyone today, and now it is my honor to call your names. Distinguished graduates, you have fulfilled the requirements of a master's in education specific to the expectations of the Arts in Education program at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. To one and all, my most sincere and hearty congratulations and a resounding bravo in celebration of the intense bravery you have each in your own beautiful way demonstrated this year. And so now, the graduating class of the Arts in Education program. The Intellectual Contribution Award recipient for the Arts in Education program, Jesa Rae Richards. Stefanie Frances Anarumo. Dahye Gigi Ban. Alexa Davee Beil. Geoffrey Booras. Ashanti Chaplin. Jenna Davidson-Catalano. Georgeanna Sydney Devereux. Taylor Armoni Edwards-Moody. Elizabeth Libby Federici. Rosalie Hughes. Cal S. Nguanti. Sara, Reena, Klugman. Anita Han-Pei Lee. Seah Lee. Renee Paulette Martin. Taylor Monique McCraney-Matz. Clare Murray. Julia Norton. Ellen Huffman O'Brien. Sophie Reed Rich. Corrine Coco Roxanne Rosenberg. Gina Pervez Saleh. Martha Sarah Schnee. Kristen Bergner Snarsky. Marie-Emmanuelle Thomas Hartness. Wilson Nguyen Vu. Julia Wareham. Jordana Lea Weiner. Sahara-Yvette Zamudio. Chiwe William Joe. And the Marshal for the Arts and Education Program, Lillian Elaine Gottlieb. Once again, congratulations to the graduates of the AIE class of 2020. And now I'd like to close this ceremony with a few thoughts and, of course, an assignment. This may not be the graduation ceremony that we dreamt of, but it is different, special, and unique, all words that could also be used to describe every one of this year's graduates. There's so many ways in which it is sad not to be together. This is a moment of closure on an intense and, I hope, powerful and memorable experience. It has been rich and thick with ideas, relationships, emotions, struggles, and beautiful moments. So of course, we want to be together. Since we moved into isolation, I felt that in addition to embracing reality, it was also very important to mourn the losses of this time. First of all, and foremost, the terrible loss of life, which has been beyond comprehension. To those with us today who have lost loved ones, I extend to you, your families and communities, my sincere condolences. Our imaginations and our hearts can barely hold the reality of your losses and the tremendous losses globally. That those in the US who bear the most extreme burdens of this crisis are overwhelmingly those who have had to bear the long and terrible inequities of our social systems is heartbreaking and enraging. It is a profound call to address those inequities and the conditions that created and support them. This is our work. We face many challenges right now, and you, our graduates, are leaving school at an extraordinary time. Certainly, our first challenge is to protect human life, to do everything possible to make sure as many people as possible survive this pandemic. Then we face the challenge of emerging from this period and creating a world in which this will never happen again. This will require that we learn the critical lessons of this tragic time. But that learning process can be very hard. So if it would be okay, I'd like to give you one last assignment, something you can practice every day for the rest of your lives. But it might make sense to start smaller and try to do it just, I don't know, maybe 3 days in a row. If you find it useful, you can keep going. So this assignment is, as AIE students know, true to my interest in exercises we can do throughout our professional lives, whenever we need to do them to stay in shape for the hard work we encounter. This is an exercise for our imaginations and the extreme test they are being put to at this moment. It builds off a line from Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Here's the passage. You probably know it. Alice laughed. "There's no use trying," she said. "One can't believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." Okay, so this is an exercise which I think should be called 6 impossible things before breakfast. It's not so much about believing things that are happening, though 3 months ago it would have been pretty impossible to believe that we would be coming together in the way we are today for your graduation. But the exercise I'm presenting frames believing as imagining and asks you to imagine things that may have felt impossible, but are still worth doing all we can to make possible. I want to frame imagination in the moral terms that I think the philosopher Maxine Greene had in mind when she spoke about imagining the world, and I quote, as if it could be otherwise. In the months and years to come, you will both bear the tremendous burdens of this moment and encounter the opportunities it offers. There's nothing easy or obvious about the transition you're in the process of making. In addition to finding your way, finding a job, where to live, how to apply all you've been studying and working on this year, how to make a life, you have the opportunity also to help us all truly, deeply learn from this experience, and in so doing, shape the world we make out of this earthquake, these fundamental shifts that are throwing into question the foundations on which our societies are built. Institutions as fundamental as our democracy, our healthcare systems, how we take care of the environment, and yes, education, and yes, the meaning and practice of the arts and culture. So to help prepare for the 1,000 opportunities that are emerging, this exercise asks you to identify little ways we live our lives, organize our communities, and practice our vocations, and imagine them as if they could be otherwise. And then to think very specifically about what you could do to put in place to take a step in that direction. As you know, I encourage micro-focusing, identifying small but not at all unimportant or insignificant aspects of our lives as a powerful way to engage in processes of intentional change. Now, the challenge of this exercise, of course, is to focus your imagination on what we might have thought of as impossible changes in our worlds that align with your deepest values, and especially those values that have struggled for space and attention. This could be, for example, the value of nature and the environment, the value of difference over homogeneity, of people over profit, of equity over oppression, of learning over ignorance, of caring over competition, indeed whatever values you feel are most critical. Since this exercise is about imagination and the use of imagination in this impossible time, I want to emphasize the sense of urgency I feel about this with a thought from Moises Kaufman, the Venezuelan-born theater director and playwright who speaks often about the role of the artist in society, the educational responsibilities of artists, and about the imagination. Kaufman said, "Imagination is the only thing that will save us from ourselves." Okay, that's the exercise. Like all the exercises I've given you, I invite you to do it in the next 2 weeks. Of course, step back at the end and reflect on it. Here are my 2 reflection questions. You might want to write these down. Number 1, what felt impossible about imagining 6 impossible things before breakfast? And number 2, what did you learn? Okay, so it's time to let you go. No, wait, I'm sorry. One more thing. There's something I say all the time, especially when saying goodbye, that I want to bring attention to. It's an invitation and a request. And that's, please stay in touch. I say stay in touch in part because selfishly, I want to hear from you. I will miss you, and I care what happens next for you. So please, Stay in touch with me and with AIE, with Shari and Aisha and Kate and the many other faculty and staff here with whom you've done such beautiful work and made such important connections. And yes, most certainly, stay in touch with Scott, who, despite his official retirement tomorrow, after 30 years at HGSE, still wants to hear from you. We want to know what you are doing and how you are doing, and we want to know if we can be helpful to you. So yes, please stay in touch with us, but also stay in touch with each other. And beyond that, staying in touch can become a very resonant reminder of things that are so critically important in life. To stay in touch with your feelings, to stay in touch with your ancestors, to stay in touch with what's happening in the world, to stay in touch with your inner life, to stay in touch with nature, and to do all of this because in addition to feeling good, staying in touch is how we stay aware of the profound fact of our interconnectedness, a fact made abundantly clear in this current global crisis. So stay in touch. And especially in this moment of isolation, there's power in taking this literally. If your state of isolation allows you to be in close proximity with another person, maybe just touch your fingertips together. Holding hands, of course, is always good too. However you find to do it, stay in touch, especially now. Okay, this is hard, but we have to stop. So once more, with great respect, admiration, gratitude, and with a warm and open heart, congratulations.